dead!
The ending of Who's Hollow is widely considered one of the best pieces of television in recent years. However, in a show packed with twists and turns, what made this moment different? And why did it spark such a massive internet reaction? In this video, I'm breaking down 3 key reasons behind it. How these details connect, but most importantly, how they create something so much bigger than just a plot twist. And to really understand what makes it special, we need to rewind to where season 1 left off. As we all know, the second season begins with 1 episode dedicated towards the innies and 1 towards the outies. And while it might seem like a logical way of continuing the story, it has a more deep-seated purpose. It builds mystery.
You are going to have questions immediately answered, but there will be a whole host of new questions that will come up.
Okay, so what is going on? We're not in trouble?
I don't think so. I mean, Milchik said our message got out. He said we're famous.
These early scenes give us subtle but telling clues about what's to come. Most notably, they reveal Irving's dramatic change in mindset without Bert in his life, and the small but noticeable ways Helena struggles to convincingly play the role of Helly, which you could catch if you were paying close attention.
A night gardener.
I think so. Maybe he has a different job during the day.
And there are even more valuable indications like this scene. Basically illustrating the exact event happening just a couple of episodes later when Irving forces Helena underwater. But perhaps the most significant moment that I haven't really seen talked about is when this Egan goes through the security footage.
You think we're about to meet our spouses?
Maybe.
Maybe it's each other. That'd be a hoot.
Helena has a very sheltered existence, so I think the experience of seeing another version of herself that is so much more free than she is intriguing, inspiring, and provocative.
And realizing that this character that you saw as like a servant might actually be living a richer life than you, I think that that really affects her.
It gives Helena more of an authentic reason for acting the way she does towards Mark. A behavior that is driven by complicated feelings of anger, frustration, but also jealousy. She doesn't just try to seduce him out of revenge, she does it to feel something, which adds another complex element to what goes down in episode 4.
This was always something I wanted to do at some point on the show, was just have an innie wake up in the middle of a snowy forest and just, how did I get here?
Hello!
Beginning from Irving's perspective, Who's Hollow instantly gives us the image of a lonely figure out on the ice. This isn't just a stark contrast to what we usually see in the show, it's also a symbolic representation of how Irving feels, abandoned and isolated.
I'm coming!
Moments like this highlights one of the show's greatest strengths, the depth of its characters. Even in a surreal setting, every choice feels true to what these people are and what they're going through, and the longer the episode unfolds, the more those layers come into focus.
When we thought about episode 4, like what Lumen would do to send them on a quote-unquote, corporate retreat, I think one of the main motivations is they want to scare the hell out of them.
Happy fortunes, MDR.
You could call the opening 25 minutes of this episode really slow, but once again there is a reason for that. It creates tension, makes us as the audience feel the innie's confusion and worrying frame of mind. The cold, the eerie music and the ghost-like twins serve on one hand as a distraction, so it doesn't become too obvious that Irving is closing in on the truth, and on the other as a reflection of his inevitable fate.
We should eat it. Pardon me?
The lifeless, rotting seal is the most blatant sign of Irving's impending death, made even clearer when he later sleeps beside it, literally lying with the dead. Along with the nightmare, it creates a fascinating layer to the story, which I'll return to soon. But first I want you to focus on this scene.
What did you really see during the overtime contingency?
I think this conversation is important, because it's the moment Irving really begins to understand. Not that he knows it's Helena Egan specifically, but he realizes enough to comprehend that it isn't Helly he is speaking to, something that only intensifies by the campfire, and I'm not talking about the marshmallows.
Why?
Marshmallows are for team players, Dylan.
Instead, it's the fact that Irving has reached his limit of patience and starts to see through Helena, so much so that she completely blows her cover by acting out of her emotions.
We all know Irving's upset because he can't ever see Bert again. He's really lonely.
What follows is the writers doing something extremely clever, and let's see if you can catch it. What happens here is that the two characters are put at opposite extremes. Irving, he's at his absolute lowest, shattered, lonely, totally lost. But for Helena, it's the first time she's actually seen, like someone finally recognizes her. And this contrast side by side isn't random, rather it builds psychologically towards the big reveal at the end by deepening our sympathy for Irving while intensifying our contempt for Helena's actions. It subtly nudges us to root even more for the good guy and resent the bad guy, long before we as the audience are fully aware of what's happening.
I think what the show explores in all of its scope is the ways in which we're different in different environments, and does that sort of kinship carry over between characters as you shift from innie to outie.
While I can't say for certain how to interpret this nightmare, it's the first time we see an innie unconscious. It could be a glitch, or it might hint at something revealed later. However, what's clear from the visual language is that it represents Lumen's purgatory. The dark place where people go after completing their work for Keir, like Bert, the extremely old lady, and soon Irving. And it's like that glimpse of what's ahead suddenly gives him a clear understanding. The dream doesn't just fade, it pushes him towards action. That's why he goes straight to Helena, and why his words in that moment are so carefully chosen.
Hey, kid.
Irving falls back on his signature catchphrase, the very first line we ever hear him speak in the show.
Hi, kid. What's for dinner?
It becomes a kind of final lifeline, a last flicker of doubt that he could have it all wrong. But when he sees that it makes no difference, that Helena doesn't give him the right response, he understands there is no turning back.
Mr. Milkshake!
Even if you were one of the clever ones that figured out where this was going, and good job if you did.
Congratulations. Good job, buddy.
Severance is created in such a brilliant way that it doesn't really matter. And let me explain what I mean by introducing the third point of the video, the emotional payoff. Ultimately, the show brings on such a roller coaster of different sympathies. One second you cheer because our protagonist has succeeded with his goal, the next you grieve because he's gone. And that's exactly why this moment has become so legendary. It's the penultimate example of what makes Severance so masterfully written. A seamless blend of mysteries unraveling, new questions emerging, and the audience being guided in a direction we don't even realize we're being led.
Britt's performance is incredible in that you don't doubt for a second that it's Helly, but then if you go back and rewatch it, you're going to see all kinds of things that are only perceptible to someone who knows.
As Adam Scott, the actor behind Mark, describes it, the events that unfold carry so many layers that they make us question everything that came before. You may have realized that Helly was actually Helena all along, but it also raises the question of what else the show is hiding. This creates a fascinating dynamic where both the characters and we, the audience, are left doubting nearly everything.
Couldn't tell that she wasn't me.
Obviously not.
They know everything we're doing because Helena told them.
That wasn't me.
Just like all these connections, the series constantly demands your full attention. Much of its storytelling unfolds not through dialogue, but through the actors' physicality, their posture, facial expressions and eyes, as well as through deliberate choices of color and framing. Red symbolizes the outies and the outside world, while blue represents the innies and lumen. The innies are often pushed to the edge of the screen as if trapdoors surrounded, while outies often take up more of the frame. This kind of a brilliant visual storytelling, combined with the 3 reasons I've outlined, explains why Severance and especially Who's Hollow stands apart. It's the exact formula that turned this episode into something the internet loved. And if you want to see how that same storytelling magic shapes one of Severance's most fascinating characters, Mr. Milchek, I dive into that in this video right here, so go check it out. Thank you for supporting me, and bye bye.